Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll just wait a couple of minutes so that everyone can join the webinar. In the meantime, I guess I can start with some housekeeping information. So thank you all for joining us. This is our first NERO webinar, so we're really glad to have you here today. It's the first webinar since the project has started, so we are happy to introduce you to NERO, and we are glad and enthusiastic to have with us today a lot of other projects, our peer projects that are working on protecting SMEs from cyber threats. And I will go quickly through the agenda and show you some housekeeping information. So we'll have an overview of the status of SMEs cybersecurity. And we're especially glad to have here on board with us today Dr. Athanasios Kosmopoulos. He's the Hellenic Ministry of Digital Governance and National Representative of Greece at the Governing Board at the ECCC, European Competence Center on Cybersecurity. So we're extremely grateful to have Dr. Kosmopoulos here for our first webinar. Then we'll have an overview of NERO, because you're probably wondering a little bit what we do and who we are. And our technical coordinator, Harlambos Kritis, will present NERO. He's technical project manager at EBOS. And then we'll present CyberSecPro, CYSSMEs, Excalibur, and smartHEALTH EDIH with Stefan Schauer, Ulrich Seldeslacht, Edward Pacek, and Konstantinos Potis. Forgive me if I'm getting the surnames wrong. I hope I'm pronouncing them correctly. And then we'll go to the most active part of this webinar, which is a panel session, panel discussion between our speakers. And we are glad to have you interact with us any way that you prefer. In fact, I will show you how you can do that. You are welcome to ask your questions. You will see that there is a chat box that you can use, and your messages will be read by the whole organizers and speakers group. Or you can use the Q&A panel. And in that case, you can either ask the question in the Q&A box, and we will answer you in written form. The speaker can answer you in written form, or we can activate your microphone if you want to add more to your question, or you can raise your hand if you want to interact with the speakers during the dedicated time. Also, a reminder that the webinar is being recorded, and we will share the link to the recording with participants after the webinar with our newsletter on the website. And also, if you know about your peers that wanted to join today and couldn't make it, we'll be glad to share the recording with them as well. We invite you to follow on our social media channels. You have the handles here, but everything is also on our website. And so with this being said, I will not waste any more time, and I will pass the floor to Dr. Kosmopoulos. I will stop sharing my screen, and thank you again for joining us.
Good afternoon from Athens, Greece. Can you hear me, first of all?
Loud and clear.
And I hope that you can see my presentation as well. Right now, I'm sharing it with you.
Yes, thank you.
I am delighted to be here with you today. And I would like to thank you very much for this invitation. I find it particularly important to discuss a few new evolutions and new challenges we're going to face in the cybersecurity context regarding specifically the SMEs that I consider, not only me, I consider maybe the most important stakeholders in this effort the European Union is now undertaking. So as you already mentioned, I am the Data Protection Officer of the Hellenic Ministry of Digital Governance, and I presided a specific committee of the data protection officers of all the ministries in Greece to regulate and to coordinate our efforts. And additionally, I'm the representative of Greece, Hellas, as it is the official Hellenic Republic, the official name, at the governing board of the European Cybersecurity Competence Center. I don't want to bother you with boring details, so I will immediately go on and dive in the important aspects of cybersecurity initiatives I would like to underline, focused on the SMEs in Europe. In this context, I find important to make a statement about the Cyber Resilience Act that introduces requirements, specifically requirements for manufacturers that deal with digital elements on the EU market, whether it is software or specifically devices that have to do with digital communication and processing of data. The Cybersecurity Act is very important because when it will be finalized, it is already approved by the European Parliament, and we expect to be ratified by the European Council. The Cyber Resilience Act calls for adequate support and gives specific guidance to SMEs in order to comply with all these cybersecurity aspects in a way that is not so difficult and so costly for the SMEs to overcome them. So it is important not to ask for too many things from the SMEs in order to have digital equipment being circulating in the European Union in the market. In this context, we have a standardization prospect that now is going on. So I believe that we must in some way ensure that SMEs are adequately represented in all this standardization process. They must have a say. It's very important for SMEs to have a say in this standardization prospect, and maybe benefit from certain procedures like a self-assessment and how to comply and follow these standards, how to have a proportionate conformity in these assessment procedures. It is easy to set up standards, but it is very difficult sometimes for SMEs to follow and comply with these standards. So I do believe, and my colleagues also believe in the other member states of the European Union, that the EU now has to establish regulatory sandboxes. And with this, I mean that we had a specific model we followed in the context of the Artificial Intelligence Act. And that model we may follow it as well regarding the Cyber Resilience Act. So we will allow SMEs to test cybersecurity elements, products, hardware, and software as well, in a safe environment before entering the market. So doing that, I think that it would be more easy for them and safer to safeguard compliance from one hand and boost innovation on the other hand. It is very important to follow that model. The Cyber Resilience Act will be in a position to impose complex security standards. So following that standards, it will not be easy for independent third parties, especially SMEs, to follow what we say the after-sales market. So we have to find a way to support SMEs and the consumers on the right to repair. And it's not so easy to find how the after-sales support will be deployed in the context of the Cybersecurity Resilience Act, and what will be the role of the SMEs. It's a challenging field, and I feel that we have the room for improvement. It's not, so easy to find what exactly regulatory framework is going to be applied in terms of following security standards as well. I would like to give you an impression of what we are thinking to do in the European Cybersecurity Competence Center. We just have thoughts on the table. We have not yet decided anything, but our intention is to allocate budget for cybersecurity actions up to 353 million euros that is going to be distributed across the year 25, 26, and 2027. So the areas where we intend to allocate budget, first of all, has to do with the European Cybersecurity Alert System. Okay, SMEs have no say on this specific area. It's another, internal control system we're going to activate. There is one right now, but it's going to be improved and further enlarged and augmented in order to reach a very high level of response. Around 50 million euros we're going to allocate probably in preparedness actions and mutual assistance actions of member states in this context of the Cyber Solidarity Act. 80 million we intend to invest on artificial intelligence for cybersecurity actions, around 45 million for post-quantum cryptography and research and innovation, 40 million for other actions, and 9 million for support. And these 49 millions probably are going to be allocated in the cybersecurity ecosystem, the community, and has to do with cyber skills mainly and other initiatives as to promote awareness, ladies and gentlemen, in SMEs in order for them to understand the challenges and to prepare themselves in order to confront these challenges. Concluding, I would like to underline that the European Union is taking and is now going on with a multi-domain approach, a multi-faced approach as to promote cybersecurity for SMEs. It has to do with the regulatory and legislative framework on one hand, the standardization initiatives and processes on the other hand, these sandboxes I mentioned that are going to facilitate SMEs while they produce and they market digital instruments and software elements. And finally, a way to support SMEs in the after-sales market and best practices. We have to have in mind that proportionality and support to SMEs is of outstanding importance. I personally, and many of my colleagues at the ECCC, we consider SMEs to be the most important element of outstanding importance in the whole cybersecurity ecosystem. Having said that, I believe that they will continue, the SMEs, to be the focal point of all our initiatives in the European Union context. And I do believe that no cybersecurity in a satisfactory level will be achieved if we don't support in an effective and efficient manner the SMEs in the European Union. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, and that was really interesting. And we will also cherish your your perspective on these throughout the rest of the project. So thank you for your inputs. And I will now pass the floor to Dr. Ramos Klitis, our technical project manager in NERO, that will tell you something about our project, use cases, and our tools. Thank you, Ramos.
Okay. Hello, everyone, from my side as well. I believe you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. For today, I will present you a quick overview of the NERO project. Obviously, in 10 minutes, this will be a high-level presentation. However, if you are interested in the project, as Christina mentioned, please follow us in the social media and our website for more details. So today, I'm just going to give you quick info for myself, just a slide just to know who is speaking. The NERO overview, so what's the project about, basic details, the background, why this project is important, the main idea, what we're going to do, to show the high-level architecture, and of course, our use cases. So who am I? My name is Ramos Klitis. I'm a senior R&D project manager in EBOS Technologies in Cyprus, and I'm the technical manager of the NERO project. I have experience in cybersecurity, 5G, 6G, and AI, and over the last 10 years, I have participated in many EU and national projects for research purposes. Now, what is NERO? NERO stands for Advanced Cybersecurity Awareness Ecosystem for SMEs, and it has started in December of 2023 with a duration of 36 months. So as you can understand, we're in the very early stages of the project, just in month 8. It's funded under the Digital ECC 2022 Cyber 03 Act with an average budget of around 6 million euros. With the main idea of providing a cybersecurity ecosystems towards SMEs with tools and training materials in order to foster a security-first culture and approach. All of NERO's results will be tested in 3 use cases in healthcare, transportation and logistics, and the finance sectors. Our consortiums consist of 16 different members across the European Union and led by our coordinator Trastillo. Now, why we want to do this? When we start moving across Industry 4.0 and beyond, it's crucial to defend any company against different cyber threats and to create a resilient and protective environment against each company. This has been enhanced and emphasized, especially due to the recent geopolitical events. Due to the recent wars, we have seen cyber attacks to increase both in frequency and severity. And indeed, over the past 5 years, this cost estimated to be above $5 trillion. So this shows you how important it is for employees to know about cybersecurity and for companies to defend against it. Why healthcare, finance, and transportation, logistics, and so on? These are the backbones of any economy, and especially European Union. European Union is 27 different countries, so you can see that any movement across the Union is covered by the transportation sector. The finance sector is the backbone of everything, and the healthcare has very sensitive data and critical roles against in any country. And especially for SMEs. SMEs, while they are small companies, they are the majority of the companies out there. They have the greatest revenue, and in 2021, 28% of those have been experienced a cybersecurity attack. This has been enhanced, especially due to the pandemic. To the rush to move to a more digital environment, we forgot about cybersecurity. And this came back to haunt us with different attacks and threats towards those SMEs companies. So NERO is looking to start from those SMEs and look into the different sectors, the different profiles, and the different budgets of the companies, independent of their size, and to create a marketplace where we will host training materials as well as cybersecurity tools to protect these companies. Those two can be independent or as well interacted together. On the training side, we are going to provide a Moodle page which will be separate from this marketplace with different materials and courses that we are preparing for the employees of the companies to use to learn and to be informed about cybersecurity. And this can be provided either through virtual events or physical webinars and workshops that we are going to organize during the project. On the cybersecurity tool side, we are going to provide protection of the various entities in the cloud, their infrastructure, as well as support on how to create this cybersecurity bubble around them and protect themselves. Finally, we are going to offer opportunity to educators and that can act as trainers as well, and different security tools providers to come and integrate in our platforms and offer themselves those training tools as cybersecurity and potentially benefit financially as well. How we are going to do that? This comes down to the high-level architecture of the NERO project, which consists out of 5 frameworks. Those frameworks are the Arcana framework, which is the front page of the project, which includes the marketplace of the project, the Moodle page, and all the interaction with the outer world. Our Victorious framework, which includes the bug bounty and cross-sensor vulnerability identification program. The Audacious, that is mostly focused on audit and resilience and security testing of various softwares. The CyberSecPro, which is the core for the protection, and it has the principle of identify, protect, detect, response, recover, and test it. And of course, the Astras, which is focused around the training using gamification and cyber ranges. Obviously, all these 5 frameworks will be interconnected in order to provide exchange of information among them and enhance even more the security against zero-day attacks and persistent attacks. This architecture will be used for our use cases and integrate with the 3 different pillars that we discussed before: healthcare, transportation and logistics, and finance. But what are these use cases? What are we going to do? The first use case is the area of healthcare, where we are going to integrate NERO frameworks into medical devices to check and protect patients' data against cyber attacks. Why this will happen? What is the requirements? What is the issue we are going to face? That's the important one we need to think about is interoperability among the various healthcare systems. In healthcare, we have many vendors, different systems, which do not speak among them, and sometimes it's difficult to make them cooperate. This is something we need to look into it and protect all of them equally. Furthermore, we need to educate the employees and anyone that is involved in this sector. We need to create awareness that healthcare is a vital role of the EU economy, of the data protection is important here because we are talking about very sensitive data. So we need to educate the different employees and the different stakeholders in the area. Then the threat evaluation, we need to keep up to date. We are always a step behind in cybersecurity. We are always responsive to a new threat. We are never one step ahead. So we always need to keep up to date with what is going out there and protect these systems. As objectives of these use cases, we need to protect patient data. I have already explained why I cannot emphasize more important. Patients' data are very sensitive. We need to protect them against any cyber threats. We need to be compliant with the regulations. We have to have the luck to hear the previous presentation about the regulations of the European Commission, the standard bodies. We need to follow the rules when it comes especially to healthcare. And then improve the operational efficiency. We are not going to come and interact with this sector and limit their efficiency. It's a sector that is moving very fast in its efficiency, so we need to be as efficient as them. Finally, we need to foster trust among the patients who are their data on stake and the rest of the stakeholders. We need to make them understand that these new tools are not there to affect their data, but are there to protect them. This will come only through training and training alone. Now to the transportation and logistics. Again, we are going to integrate NERO's frameworks to this sector. And why this sector, what is the requirements and what is the challenges we are facing is, again, interoperability. We are talking about 27 countries with different transportation methodologies, different companies, each of them to talk to each other. We need to go in and understand what is the issues and try to offer these protections towards them. And again, complexity of this supply chain is a critical issue. As we're talking about 27 countries, a huge amount of companies, this is a very challenging and a very complex area. We need to interact with these partners and understand their challenges. Also, in a sector that is probably 100 years old, is not something transportation logistics has been invested in recently. Employees usually resist to change. They are used to what they are used to, and they do not want to implement new methods. We need to educate them and learn them new methods. So as objectives, we are going to protect this sensitive information when it comes to the transportation data and where different goods are transported, improve on operational efficiency, and build trust with the customers. Finally, and I'm finishing, on the financial sector, we are going to integrate our role to the fintech organizations and to the financial sector. Why? Financial is the backbone of any economy. And financial employees usually resist to change. I'm coming from a fintech company, and I can tell you they are used to what they are used to, and they don't like changes. The challenges they have is to find people that are experts in cybersecurity. They are people with very different background, and they want to retain what they know. They don't want to learn more and move on. Also, we need to integrate with existing systems. In financial sectors, some of the systems, they are legacy systems, and we'll have a major issue to integrate with them and protect them. And we need to keep pace with evolving threats. As mentioned, we are one step behind, and we need to catch up at all times. So as an objective, we need to safeguard this sensitive financial information and protect the European economy. We need to deploy these tools to protect in real time the companies and automate and streamline the process. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Adamo. So that was an overview of our NERO cybersecurity project. And of course, in case you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat panels or to contact us through our social media. And now it's the time of CyberSecPro with Stefan Schauer. Stefan is Senior Scientist and Thematic Coordinator for Dependable Systems Engineering at the Austrian Institute of Technology. So thank you, Stefan, for being with us today, and I'll leave you the floor. We can see your screen, but we cannot hear you.
Sorry, I did not find the unmute button, but now everything should work.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for the invitation to this webinar here. And I'd like to give a very short high-level overview on the CyberSecPro project and our approach towards competence development for cybersecurity and how we can support SMEs and the industry in that context. So maybe just to give you an overview on CyberSecPro from the corner points, it is one of the first projects that has been funded under the Digital Europe program. and it is part of the Advanced Digital Skills Call back from 2021. We have a rather large consortium, so we have 14 higher education institutions and 13 companies from all over 16 EU countries. So in the consortium, what we try to do is, on the one hand, bring together the higher education institutions with the SMEs and also bigger companies that are working in the field of cybersecurity to let them foster a little bit and from each other, and of course find synergies in what they are doing and what they have to offer. The project is running for 3 years, and we are currently mostly at the point in the middle of this 36 months. So we started in December 2022, and we're going on until 2025. So with the end of June, we had more or less half time of our project. The project is led by the Goethe University Frankfurt from the management part, and from the technical part, it's led by UPRC. And I also saw our technical manager, Ninette Polemi, in the audience. So she will also be here to answer your questions if you have any during this webinar. Regarding the objectives, so first and foremost, what we wanted to do in the project is to provide practical and hands-on cybersecurity trainings built on the state-of-the-art that is coming from the higher education institutes as well as the companies, as I already said. So bring together the two worlds and to tailor it specifically for SMEs and for the application in the industry. Now, what we want to do here on the one hand is to support and advance the existing programs and courses that are already there in the higher education institutions. So we don't want to start from scratch, but we want to take what's already there and integrate it into a dense program and list of courses for cybersecurity training. This should, of course, increase the societal impact. And as I already need, we are not going to do this for a very general audience, but we want to really tailor it down to the actual needs from the SMEs and from the industry. And with regards to the industry, we focused in our project on 3 main sectors. It's the health sector, the energy, and the maritime sector. And of course, we've already heard in the first talk, European standards are now have been developed over the last years. They are now coming into force, and we're going to build on these European standards and use them as part of the training. And overall, the goal in the end is to propose a new European cybersecurity certification scheme with the more practical focus. So we have training programs that are also accompanied with ECTS points, and that can be used as well in the education part, but also are recognized from the companies. Now, as I said, we are mostly in the middle of the project. So what have we done so far? To get an overview in the beginning of the project, we started a survey. We started to get ourselves an overview on the skill gaps in the cybersecurity domain that are currently there in Europe. So this was led by our partners from Finland, from Laurea University, and they were asking a broad variety of people from the cybersecurity field, from the education domains, so from universities, but also from the industry. And they found several topics. So here on the left, we have 10 major topics that had a high demand from the perspective of the interviewers. And we also had 8 topics that had not particularly high, but still a demand in that context. And this is not something that is very surprising or very new. So we find in there very much the topics that are now in discussion everywhere, that you also know from the previous years. For example, here, cybersecurity threat management, security operations center, one of the big topics that is now where the industry, but also small and medium enterprises, they see a high demand on this topic. Same goes also for ethical hacking, penetration testing, to not only have a good security or security management system on paper, but also try it out how it works under, let's say, realistic conditions. And on the other hand, of course, cybersecurity education and training and the building of awareness, one of the bigger things that came out of this survey, of these questionnaires and interviews that we had and identified as a high demand. So based on that beginning or initial work, we then started in the project to build a curriculum, to build several modules that would reflect these high demand topics, and where we then would build training courses. And these are the 12 CSP training modules that we identified in the end. They are ranging from very general topics, I would say. So it starts off with the general overview on cybersecurity and management. It goes over to human factors and cybersecurity risk management and governance. So more or less the basic topics that you would need to get a very fundamental understanding of the topics of cybersecurity to the people, maybe SMEs, people that are not very used to deal with cybersecurity topics, for example, to give them a good entry point. Then, of course, we have the very popular topics like here network security, cyber threat intelligence, data protection, privacy technology is also very important part with regards to GDPR and everything that comes with that, and also the discovering a little bit the standard. So this is, if you will, where we have the basic here, this will be the next step. And on the left side, you can see also several modules where we have hands-on and more practical courses. For example, we have the penetration testing. We have also cyber ranges and operations, digital forensics, as well as software security. These would be modules and parts where we are looking more into not concepts, but also how to implement these concepts, which tools can be used to really improve the security of SMEs and also from an industry's point of view, and also give the participants then an overview how these tools can be used. So here would be the more hands-on part. And in the end, of course, we're also looking into or covering cybersecurity in emerging technologies. And here we have the courses that are related to critical infrastructures. Overall, these 12 modules, as I said, they are not covering generic or high-level topics, but they are tailored to the 3 different domains that I mentioned before. So to the health, the maritime, and the energy domain. So for each module, we have courses according to 3 different domains where, for example, cybersecurity essentials and management, the digital forensics, the penetration testing, or the cyber threat intelligence is in particular courses narrowed down to the needs and to the requirements that you have from the maritime domain, that you would have from the health domain, and that you would have from the energy domain. So here we try to be then more specific to give the people, the participants, the tools and the knowledge at hand that they would use or they would need in their own domain. Now, regarding the current activities, what are we doing right now, or what has already been done? So, as I said, we built this curriculum of 12 modules. In these modules, we specified about 75 courses that are prepared over these modules. These 75 courses, they are then distinguished between the 3 different domains that I just mentioned. And we have lectures, seminars, and workshops defined as parts of these modules. So we are not only focusing on lectures, so if you will, very frontal way of bringing these topics, but in seminars, which are a little bit shorter, we have more interaction, maybe also more focused topics. And of course, when it comes to workshops, the hands-on material is given to the audience, given to the participants, so that they can also interact with the trainers. Everything has been brought together, and it will be, it is managed already in the dynamic curriculum management system. So in that, we have the online platform that covers all the existing courses, that covers also the existing systems that we have, and then the participants can use that to carry out the courses.
Stefan, if you can wrap up.
Yes,
so
I will wrap up.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just 2 more sentences. We started already with the training, so this will be the most part that we have for the next 18 months. We will have the individual courses, and we already started with several trainings, for example, with Wireshark Nessus, and also we had a first summer school in Madeira. And here on the right side, we have 3 upcoming events that are either currently running or will be starting very soon. And I think the slides will be handed out to the participants. So you can see here are the links also where you can get more information on these trainings events. Thank you very much for your interest. And of course, I will be here to answer any questions. Thank you. Back to you, Christina.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Okay, so now I'll quickly pass the floor to Ulrich Seldeslax. Hope I get the surname right. And Ulrich is CEO at LSEC, Leaders in Cybersecurity, presenting CYSSME project. You have time until 15:55, Ulrich, and then I'll pop up.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, Christina. Thank you also for the invitation to invite CYSSME in this case. So yes, you can spell it out as CYSSME, but it's actually much easier if you call it CYSSME. And as you can see, our little frog here is really representing the CYSSME idea. So if you kiss the frog, then you'll turn into a very nice and beautiful cybersecurity aware company in this case. So what do we do with CYSSME? The aim for CYSSME as an also European project, European funded project, is to provide cybersecurity for micro enterprises and small and medium-sized organizations. We are doing this also under the ECCC Digital Europe program, and then specifically under the uptake part of it. I think very much like the NERO project that we're invited to here. So thank you very much, NERO, for inviting us here. The idea of CYSSME is really that we reach out to SMEs and trying to help them on every single step that they need in order to get at least a level of cybersecurity maturity improvement. What we are considering is that no SME in this case in Europe is the same. So that means that we won't be able to just simply say, okay, here's a set of solutions and toolings, and here you go. We also know and understand that cybersecurity for SMEs is very challenging and very difficult. They are facing those challenges in being attacked, receiving incidents, and we also see those SMEs, the larger ones, and in any case, every once in a while popping up into the news as well. Some of you might know a famous Belgian beer brand called Duvel has been under attack a couple of months ago. Luckily, they had their cyber resilience rather well in place, and they've been able to recover very swiftly out of this. But that's not usually the case for most companies that we see. And that is because typically small and micro businesses are not really there to work on cybersecurity. They're there to work on their business, which is also quite normal. But they don't have any people inside of their organization either to work on cybersecurity. So rather very much endorsing the idea of the previous presentation in terms of training, but somebody has to be able to pick up on the training. And that is sometimes one of the challenging aspects. Now, we're very much supporting the idea to provide training, and we're also very much looking forward in integrating that as part of the CYSSME offering, because we are also already offering some parts of trainings and training programs in order to make that happen. But we want to take it a step further with CYSSME. With CYSSME, we want to make sure that SMEs in Europe are getting some advisory, are getting some tooling, and are getting some mentoring in what they need to do in order to become cyber secure. We want to see that as a program, and the program is really a learning environment for us right now in order to make sure that organizations like ourselves in this case, and I'll talk about that in a second, will be able to pick up on those experiences and then format much more into how they can support their membership types of organizations and relations towards the end users in that domain. So taking it first into something very practical. So usually we get by now the question, okay, what is it then exactly that CYSSME is doing? Well, we start from the back in this case, and it means that we will be providing some technologies and tooling. And those technologies include, for instance, network and endpoint protection, third-party risk assessments, compliance management, or even industrial solutions for manufacturing and industrial companies. So we have a series of tools that we can provide. We can provide those either for free or for a temporary basis. And that is through these different partners that we are within the CYSSME consortium. So as I mentioned, CYSSME is in the part of the uptake program of the Digital Europe activities. And with the support that we receive, we actually facilitate that as partners, we can actually use our own technical means and our own resources to facilitate SMEs in order to get their cybersecurity maturity improvements. Company like AccessGuard, they provide those firewalls and endpoint protection toolings. Company like Excellence providing a solution for OT types of asset discovery. But on the other hand, there's associations like ourselves, like UNISO, L3CE, and Cross Border, which are more the types of organizations that work with SMEs. So UNISO, for instance, is the largest Belgian SME association that exists. L3CE, in this case, in Lithuania, working directly with security companies that are targeting, for instance, law enforcement, but therefore also gather quite a number of interactions with SMEs throughout the Baltic states and the rest of the Nordics. So with these entities, we will be able to provide this, what we call cybersecurity maturity improvement. And how do we do that? Well, by firstly interacting with companies and trying to understand their business. We start from a risk assessment perspective, and we learn how they can mature and even go to defining some specific end goals, whereby we as CYSSME will be able to provide some solutions, not everything, but in order for them, in any case, in some cases also to start complying. We've heard before about CRA, I'll get back to that in a second, but definitely the biggest question coming up today, also for SMEs, is what to do with NIS2 compliance, for instance. So we have these mechanisms called CYSSME assessments or the Cyber Fundamentals Assessment. The CYSSME assessment is 25 questions, and you should be able to finalize in about 10 minutes. The Cyber Fundamentals Assessment is about 200 questions, but also will help you if you get everything done there in the correct way, it will be able to guide you through your NIS2 compliancy. The CYSSME assessment will be able to first get you started and identify where some of the gaps are, that you then try to complete with our solutions, with our services to become Cyber Fundamentals ready. Cyber Fundamentals is the program that was developed by the Belgian government in order to be able to comply to NIS2 in this case, for instance, as well. We as CYSSME are focusing on three main sectors. So that's definitely the industrial space, there's retail and high tech. And in all of these domains, we already have a number of cases running. So today we are working with about 100 SMEs that we see as basically the companies that are in need of these cybersecurity solutions and services. And we help them taking the guidance step by step on getting there. We see them with different levels of maturity and in different sizes. So both from micro up to the medium types of SMEs. And so what we try to do is from those discussions, we try to learn what similarities that we can find in the retail domain in itself. And then from those, we will be building use cases and reference cases that then can help learning other domain-specific entities as well. But we'll also see the overlap between those different sectors and try to learn with different packages on how to get them started. And let me quickly finalize with a couple of use cases in this case. So in industrial space, we are supporting a medium-sized manufacturing company. They're in the make industry and building actually large industrial machines that they're implementing in an industrial environment in basically production machines. So here we supported the company in understanding, for instance, what level of cybersecurity was available in those production machines themselves. So already focusing towards CRA compliance, if you want. I'll quickly skip over those. But we're also supporting a high-tech company in IoT domain. And maybe a more interesting one to end up with is a commerce company. It's basically an online retailer, as we will be able to find many of those throughout Europe. They have been around already for the last 2 decades. And we've been able to assess their existing websites, trying to give some advisory on how to further improve those, and then help them, basically guiding them with the next steps and implementing those security improvements together with them online. Next step is that we've provided them with some additional tooling that helps them in understanding how they need to internally within their own systems further mature. And now we're in the process of mentoring them in doing that by themselves. So we give them the tooling and indications on how to monitor their cybersecurity solutions by now, and we support them on an ongoing basis on taking the next necessary steps. Before I finalize with CYSSME, we have also a sister project that I would quickly like to announce here, which is called CYSSD. So next to CYSSME, there's CYSSD. And in this case, we're actually also providing an open call mechanism, financial support to third parties of up to 200,000 euros for companies that will be able to help both SMEs as well as SMEs in cybersecurity, helping out critical infrastructure, for instance, for CRA, to do pen tests and vulnerability assessments. This open call will launch in October. So do stay tuned either on CYSSME or CYSSD for additional developments of that kind. So that's it for my side. Thank you very much again, Christina. And I think I'm exactly in the right time.
Yes, there was perfect timing. Thank you very much. And very interesting presentations, both from CyberSecPro and CYSSME, which I now learned how to pronounce. I would have never expected the CYSSME. And now that you explained the link with the frog, it makes so much sense and it's awesome. So thank you for explaining this and very interesting project. We'll now go to Excalibur, another project with a very interesting name, which we're looking forward to hear more from Edward Pacek, Business Development and Partnerships Specialist at Excalibur. Thank you, Edward.
Thank you, Christina. Let's go. All right, enter screen. Here we go. You should be able to see everything, right?
Yes.
Great. Perfect. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to be here today with you, and I would like to give you a sneak peek towards the privileged access management and multi-factor authentication. What is it in our point of view and how we are doing it seamlessly? So basically, you know the story of the King Arthur and his legendary sword, Excalibur, and that is exactly where the name of our company comes from, and we consider it the first recorded biometric authentication, while the Arthur pulled the sword from the stone, granting him access to his kingdom. And by this, we would like to do it in a simple and modern way, modernize it and make companies masters of their digital kingdom. Let's see how we are doing it. And our mission as Excalibur is the democratization of privileged access management for everyone, including SMEs. We would like to do it by creating it as a phone-centric solution, meaning it's accessible from anywhere in the world with internet connection in the palm of your hand. It's easy to use, so you don't need to study lengthy manuals and covers just enough features any company needs. From the accessibility standpoint, we are including also multi-factor authentication, making sure the high level of security is established from beginning of usage of our PAM, including proximity factor, biometric authentication, geolocation, and some others. We will get to those. Before we will take a look towards today's reality in the sector of cybersecurity, I would like to talk about our background, which is we are part of the European Cybersecurity Organization and also Cybersecurity Competence Center, and also registered for the Cybersecurity Europe trademark, inspiring us to look for opportunities how to talk about the cybersecurity anywhere we go and creating events around it. And what's the reality today in the cybersecurity sector, and especially in the MFA and PAM part, where there's a lot of cases of exploiting credentials through phishing and other methods, leveraging the human factor as a key access point to the system. It is common users have too wide access inside their environments that is beyond all their responsibilities or tasks, and this can be also leveraged by malicious entities, making many organizations exposed to potential breaches and compliance failures. And also current pandemic created a lot of opportunities to work from home or from environments that might be vulnerable. For example, joining to the system from unsecured Wi-Fi without a VPN and creating much bigger surface that can be used for breaches. This phenomenon is known as fading security perimeters because company can't fully control where the users are connecting from. PAM in general is considered a complex tool, and that's also the reason why a lot of companies are hesitant with the deployment and configuration. Did you know that almost 60% of IT security leaders avoid PAM due to its prohibitive expense, including initial costs, cost of licensing, support, and others? And due to its complexity, again, almost 60% of companies, including SMEs, are unable to fully implement it because it's just too huge or bulky to be effective for their use. So what we are doing to make it work with all these points I mentioned. Excalibur is created, and we are trying to create it as easy as possible for the user to be protected by PAM and multi-factor authentication while maintaining the solid security posture that is requested by some regulations recently. The main factor is that we are creating a passwordless access where the password is not in touch with the user, and instead we are using phone as a kind of token and the biometry to authenticate before entering any environment. So the password is there, and it's used by Excalibur, but the user does not see it because it's triggered by the multi-factor authenticators, such as proximity factor. So the user needs to have the phone in front of the screen, as we'll see in the next slide and a short video, and use it as a token to access. That's leveraging like the unique capabilities of user smartphones, for example, geolocation or biometry or the fingerprint or the face ID or anything else. And that leads me also to our differentiators, which are based on the market demands for a solution which have to be cost effective, of course, ideally for user friendly, simplifies the management of it, and enable compliance from anywhere for anybody. Based on these market demands, we created a product that fits all of them, meaning it's phone-centric, so you need your phone to get access to the system, while offering affordable licensing, as we are trying to have as many features as is needed, not as many features as we are able to give, including, for example, holistic reporting, which is with full traceability of every single action that happens in the system. Then there is a 4 eyes factor, which can be enabled for any user which is accessing delicate part of the system, and it requires, for example, superior to be there and grant access locally or remotely via the dashboard. And the last one is multi-tenancy feature, which can include like multiple companies into one PAM architecture, communicating and interacting among each other. So let's see a short video how the authentication looks like without password, actually. On the left side, we got the phone, and on the right side, we got the screen. So it's recorded all in one. We already see some geolocation factor over here, and then we will see the QR code, which needs to be scanned in order to match the registered user of the solution. So we are just quickly scanning the QR code. We see that the geolocation marker is correct. The phone is there, it's registered, and then we'll just finish it with the biometric authentication. And that's it, we are there. No passwords, no email addresses, no credentials at all. It's all there underneath, but not in touch with the user. So this is how we can do it. And then we can, from this dashboard, which is from our product, we can access everything with a single sign-on solution. So we are now just coming to a virtual machine which was created for this purpose. So that's basically what the sign-in in the Excalibur PAM dashboard looks like with multi-factor authentication. We would like to think of our solution as kind of Apple of PAM, putting together both the strong authentication part with easy-to-use PAM solution and focusing it on the user to have as less issues as possible, as less friction as possible. And our MFA can be used in some cases, for example, as a passwordless login to operation systems. And we got some integrations via SAML protocol into Cisco Secure Client or, for example, Microsoft Outlooks. We will see both of those in, again, short videos. So the same premise with the phone and the screen. We are opening the Cisco Security Client, and it pops up with overlay of QR code, which needs to be scanned in order to be logged in to the VPN. And again, we got the phone, we got the geolocation, we got the biometry, everything is correct, and go, we are there. We are signed to the VPN. Again, no passwords, no credentials, it's all there, using your phone. And the same should be also over here with for example, logging in to Outlook. This is the same solution, but for multiple purpose of use. So anywhere you need to log in with password or the email, it can be avoided. It can be covered by our authentication, our privileged access management. And that's it. It's great. It's easy. It's smart for us. And this is how we seamlessly approach the multi-factor authentication and privileged access management. And I'll be happy to answer any questions about this democratization. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm coming back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Edward. That was really, really interesting. And we now have a last project presentation before switching to the second part of this webinar, which is the panel discussion. So I'll give a couple of minutes after the last project presentation for anyone who has questions. And now I would like to welcome Dr. Votis, Konstantinos Votis, which is Senior Researcher and Director of Visual Analytics Laboratory at the Center for Research and Technology in Greece, Hellas, and Information Technology Institute as well. So as you know, healthcare is one of the use cases for NERO, which were being presented. And so we're glad to now talk about mitigating cyber threats risks across the healthcare ecosystem. And the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. As it was mentioned, I'm going to present some cybersecurity services and some projects that were involved and are related to the healthcare. So this is the Digital Innovation Hub, the smartHEALTH project that it was an official Digital Innovation Hub approved in Greece, which addresses the health domain, and we're trying to support and offering some healthcare services that can be provided to the healthcare ecosystem in Greece, so supporting different organizations, also SMEs. And there are many areas that we're addressing, and some of these areas, of course, are the cybersecurity services that we are offering. These are the partners that are involved in this Smart Health Innovation Hub. There are research centers, universities, but of course, private companies. So the main target groups, as you can see, we have public health authorities like ministries, like hospitals, we have insurance companies, we have many industrial partners, SMEs in the biomedical informatics, but also companies in the pharma industry, diagnostics and patient advocacy groups. So there is a huge list of these target groups. And we're offering services, of course, in addition to some other programs and skills training programs that we are offering. So there is a huge list of services that we are offering to different organizations, also SMEs. And of course, something that is very important within the service is the medical information security. And we are offering some services that are related to cybersecurity service for the healthcare. Some of these services that are being offered, and we hope that we can support the different problems, the different issues that these organizations, also SMEs, are facing. There are some flagship services like risk assessment and management. So we're trying to evaluate different attacks to electronic health records, to medical devices, but also to the communication networks within the healthcare industry. Security awareness training. So there are some training programs for healthcare staff, but also for IT staff, in order to understand data privacy regulations, offering also some practice sessions and some services, training programs that are related to training. Some endpoint security solutions. So there are different solutions that can be integrated within the healthcare network, supporting also Internet of Things devices, different solutions that are integrated in hospitals or in the healthcare environment. Network security, advanced network security measures, and different solutions like intrusion detection, prevention systems. Something that is very also important is the data encryption and secure storage. So we're utilizing encryption technologies for protecting all the patient data, sensitive patient data that are located to the different servers. So we're also offering an implementation of secure data storage solutions for ensuring data integrity and availability. And finally, there are some incident response recovery services in order to understand how, if there are some attacks, how there are some recovery plans and some response to know how we can mitigate to different attacks. Also, there are skills and training. We are offering some skills and training services that are also addressing SMEs in order to support all the involved stakeholders and try to take services also related to simple workshops and seminars, but also cyber range solutions that can be used in order to support for the training part. And of course, support to these companies to find also investment and also some acceleration services for companies. We have also, due that this is a smart digital innovation hub, smart health digital innovation hub, there are also some networking and some events and some services that we are offering, networking services with different clusters in the healthcare area, but also in other areas like, for example, the cybersecurity. We are also part of EXO, European Cybersecurity Organization. So why we're offering these services to the healthcare organizations? It's clear that there are many issues on the healthcare. They are suffering from cyber attacks. There are many statistics that they are highlighting how important and how there is a greatest risk of cyber attacks, especially on the healthcare industry. Here there are some attacks. something that's really, really important is that these attacks now are also happened to the different IoT solutions that are existing hospitals and also SMEs that they are offering. So there are many devices, Internet of Things devices, or different solutions, hardware solutions that are being integrated in hospitals, not only healthcare related solutions, but also additional solutions. And that means that these solutions, they have to be supported regarding cyber attacks. So we need to offer solutions. This is one solution, the CyberCare solution that we also received an award recently. So with these solutions, what we're trying to do is to support SMEs and support healthcare organizations in order to have different services about attack mitigation, getting response recovery services, and getting also immediate notifications if there is a cyber threat within an environment. Of course, awareness solutions and solutions that can analyze the connected medical devices, the network, and offering some notifications into that. Some solutions that can enhance this cyber security part, analysis tools on machine learning and AI, recovery system solutions, and of course authentication platforms for supporting through blockchain for supporting the trust. There are some components, as you can see, the threat intelligence component, the analysis part. We are trying to analyze everything that is included and supporting medical devices, but also devices that are coming from the patients or from the healthcare professionals or from the personnel that exist in a healthcare organization. So we monitor everything, and through different solutions, also dedicated honeypots, we are offering this solution to the users. So there is also a main dashboard with CyberCare platform tools, where there is a suite of tools that can be integrated. They can be used as a plug and play, and can be deployed in hospitals or can be deployed by healthcare organizations or by SMEs that are involved in this ecosystem in order to understand any malicious activities that are happening. So it's clear the benefits that we are offering through that, not only to the patients, but also to the healthcare ecosystem, to the research community, to medical device manufacturers, to SMEs, and of course, any security incident response team that is involved. Another solution, again, for the healthcare, and we are offering services through that, there is Septon, some anomaly detection services, vulnerability assessment with penetration testing and AI solutions, and of course, try to secure and offering privacy preserving data exchanges services in different medical devices. So there are, we're trying to understand what is happening within a network infrastructure and try to see how we can offer a solution inside the healthcare organization, like a hospital, but also through the interconnection of more than one healthcare organizations, let's say 2 hospitals or one hospital, one SME, another SME that they would like to collaborate together, and some dashboards that are being offered through the solution and the services that can be integrated through our solution. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Konstantinos, and thanks for sticking to the time as well. So this ends the first part of our webinar, and I would like now to ask our guests, if they have any question for the speakers who've presented these very interesting projects. Otherwise, we can switch to the part of the panel discussion, and if any question comes to your mind, please feel free to use the Q&A chat. And meanwhile, thank you for those of you who left us some nice comments about this webinar. Okay, so now I would like to hear from our speakers their opinion on something that has come out recently from the research carried out in the NERO project so far. So the NERO team members in Work Package 2 especially were working on a cybersecurity landscape analysis, and what emerged in this first part of the project is that very often SMEs are actually aware of the importance of protecting themselves from cyber threats and are aware of the needs to improve their cybersecurity preparedness. However, they often lack the knowledge on how to do that. And I think this set of projects that we've presented so far is very important to know about, because they offer all kind of different solutions for these. So I would like to start with Dr. Cosmopoulos and ask, what is your thought on these? Do you think that it's rather a problem of awareness by your experience, or do you think that it's actually a problem of knowledge? And what are the most pressing challenges that you've seen in your experience so far? Thank you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for the question. I believe that small and medium-sized enterprises in the European Union face a myriad of cybersecurity challenges, so to say, that vary across different industries. The landscape of threats is influenced by factors such as the nature of the industry, the type of data handled, and the level of digital maturity. So if we would like to locate the most pressing cybersecurity challenges faced by SMEs in the EU, I would say that, first of all, these challenges differ across industries. Common challenges now are, first of all, limited resources and expertise. SMEs often lack the financial resources and in-house expertise to implement robust cybersecurity measures. Secondly, SMEs are the prime targets for phishing attacks due to often insufficient staff training and awareness, as you mentioned. Ransomware attacks as well. SMEs are increasingly targeted in the EU by ransomware. According to the latest NISA's report, 32% of all cybersecurity attacks had to do in the European Union last year with ransomware. This is specifically a challenge for SMEs due to their perceived lower security defenses. Another challenge is the data privacy and compliance. Compliance with regulations such as the GDPR can be complex and costly at the same time. Of course, third-party risks. SMEs rely on third-party vendors for various services, which can introduce additional security risks. Cloud security, as more SMEs move to cloud services, ensuring data security and privacy in the cloud is a significant concern and challenge for them. And of course, advanced persistent threats, the APTs as we call it in our ecosystem. While less common, APTs pose a significant threat to SMEs, particularly those involved in high-value industries or critical infrastructure, as for example, health sector, that it is very important. They are highly targeted due to sensitive patient data there, and the compliance with healthcare regulations, it's not so easy. So to sum up, I would like to emphasize that challenges differ according to the sector and the industry that we're talking about. Different data, different nature of threats and challenges, different regulatory environments. The threat landscape is vast, and it is a very big one for the SMEs in the European Union. I would conclude saying that cybersecurity challenges for SMEs in the EU are multi-faced and very significantly across different industries. And the common threats, like as I said, phishing, ransomware, are ubiquitous, industry-specific, revolve around the type of data handled and the regulatory requirements and the level of technological adoption. To mitigate this risk, the SMEs should focus on enhancing their cybersecurity posture through investments, staff training in cyber skills, and compliance with the regulations. Finally, there is a lot of money and cascading funds that's going to be allocated for the aforementioned targets and the aforementioned actions that I've said. And I would like to ask SMEs to be focused and alerted and expecting these calls us to participate in these funding activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And yeah, as you said, good thing that there are these possibilities of investments and of funding dedicated to SMEs, and also concerning what you were saying about the differences between the sectors. This is also, you know, with NERO, we're trying to address these thanks to the different use cases targeting different sectors. And personally, I've participated in cybersecurity projects before dedicated in particular to healthcare, and I know how delicate is the situation there, where, you know, the most...
You are doing an excellent work in NERO, and we are very eager. And I think my colleagues in the ECCC would be very happy to have a final look at your conclusions and your remarks as soon as the program is concluded.
Thank you very much. And in fact, we also we are so happy to have the other projects here working on cybersecurity, so that we can also have their perspective as well on the same you know, landscape analysis that we worked on. So I would like to pass the floor first to, I'm following the order of speakers, so I'll pass the floor first to Harlambos, and then Stefan, Ulrich, Edward, Konstantinos. You're welcome to tell us your thoughts on what we've done so far and presented so far. Thank you. Harlambos, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the speakers today. I just wanted to extend a bit one of the findings and one of the understanding we got from some of the SMEs and some of the industry that was spoken, not only with industry itself, but individual people, is that we are not going to be the ones being hacked. We are too small to be attacked. We do not get interested in cybersecurity. So we found this notion, this idea that who cares about us? We're a small fish in the ocean. And a lot of times, if an SME doesn't face an actual cybersecurity issue, that is not interested in cybersecurity. And this creates bigger and bigger problems as we move on to the digital era that we are going to face eventually, and we need to move away from legacy and this mindset. And I think the trend is going to be a very challenging towards those people, because if they are not interested in cybersecurity in the first place, it's difficult to approach them to get trained and get them interested. So it's something that we really need to look into this one, because it's a mindset that a lot of companies are not, which are not close to the technological sector, are not simply interested about, because they believe they cannot be attacked, and no one will be interested for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harlambos. And yeah, as they often say, it's not a question of if, but rather a question of when a cyber attack is coming, right? So I think this point that you said about the thought that an SME is too small to be attacked is fundamental. I'll pass the floor now to Stefan. Sorry. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so two speakers before me have already covered a lot. So I just wanted to stress that I also think that in SMEs, I think it is not the lacking of the awareness. Nowadays, I think organizations, starting from startups to SMEs, already are aware that malicious parties are out there. As soon as I'm connected to the internet, I am a potential target to cyber threats. But I think a crucial point is resources. So if I put myself into the position of a startup or a small enterprise with, I don't know, 5 people you were mentioning, Christina, for example, in the health sector, My focus is maybe not on IT security, maybe not on cybersecurity. Maybe my focus is on bringing up the company, maybe going into the new technology, maybe addressing new customers and doing sales to get the business going. And then often the cybersecurity aspects, they are hindering a little bit this progress because they cost money. And as Harald Lambos, sorry for that, as he just said, it's maybe I'm too small to get hacked, but the other way around is, I think, the truth. The smaller you are, the less you do for cybersecurity, the easier it is to be hacked, because the protection is not that well. So what I think is that giving these SMEs and the people in there the opportunity to get a very quick overview and start maybe from scratch, or also start with some training into some detailed parts, could be a very good opportunity for them to prepare themselves. I know that we have several regulations and opportunities also from the ECCC to support that, and to give out or put the ability for funding into the world, into Europe. And just from our part at CyberSecPro, we're trying to fill also this gap with very detailed, very tailored courses and trainings to provide answers to the questions that SMEs might be facing in this or the other domain. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan, for your perspective. So I think it is also aligned with what we found out on NERO so far. And I see also there was Nadia Al-Mansour writing in the chat. I'm not sure, Nadia, if you had a question that you wanted to ask. If it is the case, feel free to raise your hand or ask the question, and we'll gladly pass you the microphone. Meanwhile, I'll pass the floor to Ulrich. Thank you, Ulrich.
Yeah, sure. So yes, I think it's pretty obvious that today many SMEs, if we generalize them, are aware of cybersecurity. It's been taking about 20 years to get to this point. Let's say that it's already a start, and that's a good thing. But as I started saying with CYSSME, the basic premise that we have is that no single SME is the same. And that means also here, when you take this type of survey, you get a bit of a deflection, of course, on the basis of who is actually going to respond. And what we see definitely is that there are differences, as it was mentioned by Mr. Cosmopoulos, in terms of different sectors. We definitely see that there's a difference in levels of maturity and in the sizes of those SMEs. And that's what we really need to focus on. I think there are advances that we can make in those companies that are already relatively mature in an industrial world, equally also in healthcare, that definitely need much more attention, because they're probably more into the critical path of our digital economy. But at the same time, all of those micro enterprises, which are typically the underserved audience, they are also very much aware, but they don't have a clue on how to take it to the next step. And that's what we're really finding out on a practical basis day to day, is that companies, 5, 6, 7 persons that could be very much working on the next Facebook or the next Netflix, if you want, they are very much high-tech oriented. They really focused on developing the latest and greatest types of applications. But how to do that in a secure way is not immediately the thing that they're working on. And that is something that we really need to start focusing on very hard. Definitely by giving them additional awareness and training, but there needs to be also a change in behavior. And I think that part is what all of us as different projects have to work upon, is making sure that they are getting the tools and they're getting also the levels of information to get the level of mentoring that they need to take that to the next step. So the third element to this really is about the actual mentoring, because you might be able to provide them with some guidance. You might be able to even provide them with some tooling. They might even purchase them by themselves. But then the next step is that they have to monitor and to operate it by themselves. And that's typically something that is falling behind as well. So yes, they have a firewall, but it's outdated because it has been standing there for the last 10 years. Yes, they have been looking into some form of awareness training activity 6 years ago. They even received a certification for this that they're very proud of. But on knowing what's actually there today and what's really causing harm is very much unknown. So I think it's good that there is this level of awareness, and it's something that we have to build upon. But we really have to make sure that we can do that with practical means and with making direct impact within the company itself, that they can see the immediate results and that they can also learn how to, from there on, improve it by themselves. So it's a stepped approach. Maybe I can add something something that I learned not so long ago. We're working together very regularly with the Cyber Essentials offering in the UK, which has been there already for the last decade. And there's even a requirement from many government bodies searching for suppliers which need to be Cyber Essential compliant. Otherwise, they can simply not deliver to government institutions. And even there, after a decade of this mechanism, there's still many companies that are finding this out on a day-to-day basis and then are asking the question, what do we have to do in order to become cyber secure? So that is sort of a final perspective for everybody to think of.
Thank you, Ulrich. That's really food for thought, both on the mentoring and behavioral part, which is essential, and on this last thing that you said, and I think also about what Dr. Cosmopoulos was saying before, that also the application of standards for SMEs is quite complex, and they really need to learn, like be put in the position to know how to do that. Edward, do you have any thoughts on what was discussed so far?
Yeah, I guess like there are a lot of challenges, but for me, the lack of resources and the lack of need to comply with regulations is mostly the thing that the companies are facing. A lot of times, we know there is a GDPR and it was a really boom around it, so anybody knows about it. But about the regulations in the cybersecurity sector, that's not so known, I would say. For example, the NIS2 or the ADAS, it's something that is pushing on SMEs to invest in the cybersecurity without knowing anything about it. And I feel like the lack of resources can be like supplied by product that is affordable for them and easy to use. Because as one of other guys said, there is they need to do the business first, and then there is some maybe some time and maybe some resources to get to know with the cybersecurity. So creating the path between ability to have some tool and creating also maybe some opportunities for some companies to create the tools which are affordable, which are not suited for the complex and big companies, rather than for somebody who has 10 or 15 people but needs to comply with the same regulations as others. So that's maybe my point of view on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, we will also release after this webinar a report with all the presentations and discussions. So if you want to go back there and reread what we've been discussing, you will find it, and we'll share with all of you. And finally, I'd like to pass the floor to Dr. Votis.
Yes, yeah. I think that everything was covered from my side. Something that I would like to mention, I think that it's very important for SMEs, in addition to outdated technology that was mentioned by Ulrich, is also the training part. They need to have access to more training resources in order to know how they could be trained in order to understand and try to address many cybersecurity attacks that may happen. And of course, something that is very, very important is that these challenges vary across the different industries, the different sectors. So It doesn't mean that you can have one solution that fits to all the SMEs. There are tools that are related for the healthcare, as I mentioned, the healthcare area. There are other tools that maybe they can fit for the retail, SMEs, and many other tools for the industry 4.0. So that means that we need solutions that are implemented in order to cover the requirements, specifications that these SMEs are needed.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I wasn't being able to unmute my microphone. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank all of you for your very interesting inputs. I see that, yeah, there is maybe a question in the chat. Okay, not yet. It's probably being formulated in this moment. Now, I've passed the floor to each one of you, but of course, if any of you has another comment or reaction to what the other speakers have said, please feel free to take the floor without me calling you. And we went a bit over time, but nevertheless, it was really interesting to have these discussions. Any question, comments? Okay.
Thank you very much for the initiative in any case. And as we will be able to, all of us together, support SMEs throughout Europe, I think it's definitely also useful for us to share the link to the recording afterwards, that we can link basically the SMEs that reach each of our individual activities to the others, and so that they can be maximizing their support from all of us.
Yes, yes, that's excellent to put the efforts together, and I think very great to see that there are these different solutions that tackle different perspectives. So definitely we will share everything online and on our social media channels and newsletters. So I invite everyone from the public to follow us if you're not doing so already. And also thanks for sticking with us until the end of the webinar. That means it was interesting for you, so we're glad about that. And I see there are no questions in the chat. I just read hi from Nadia. But Nadia, if you want, I can pass you I can activate your microphone and you can ask your question directly. So if you want, your microphone is activated. Otherwise, if it was a mistake, I think I can now say goodbye to every one of you. Oh, there she is.
We want to meet you as soon as possible.
There's probably some issue. Okay, so thank you all very much for participating today, and see you in the next webinar. And thank you to our speakers. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Very much. Bye.
Bye.